Hi, I'm Dick Eydt with Bites by Eydt. We have a catering company in Atlanta, Georgia, and we travel up and down the eastern seaboard to New York, Connecticut, Nantucket, down to Florida, and even in Tennessee, where we just did a rehearsal dinner and a bridal shower. Today we're going to go back out to my brother's restaurant in Snohomish, Washington, Rogers Riverview Bistro, where he does a classic chicken cordon bleu that's breaded and a pork Milanese that's breaded. So let's start with that and let's get going. We're going to trim off any of the extra fat on the chicken. And then we'll take the fat side, the thick side, and we'll slice it about almost to the end. Put your hand on top to guide it. Take your time. Open it up. And we'll just cut a little bit more. So we cut the chicken and not our hands. Trim this off here. So you can see it's a nice little piece. And what we'll do is we'll pound it out so it's all the same thickness, so it all cooks at the same time. Cover your ears. Let's get this side. Okay, lift it up. You can see this side is a little bit rough and this side is smoother. Okay, I'll pound down this and it's all the same size. Put this off to the side and we'll do the second one. We'll trim it and we'll cut it again. Put our hand down to hold it. Take it nice and slow, saw it back and forth. And cut it with your hand on top. It won't cut through. You pull it out well before you get to the end and finish it down there. And now we're going to pound it out. You could use either side. I'm going to use this rough side for the pork, but I use the flat side for the chicken. And I'm feeling it to feel for the tenderness and the thickness of the meat. Okay? Now we're going to put, I use a Black Forest ham. You can use any kind of ham you want. I just think it's a nice high quality ham. And it's a little saltiness. It's tender. I cut it thinly. You can go for a thicker slice on it. I like it thin. My brother likes it thicker. So there's no right or wrong way to do anything. Okay. I do like to load it up. And then we'll put Gruyere cheese on there. I like to do this thick. And on the second piece, we'll just do a little cheese. Okay, fold it back over, and that's ready to go on and to be sauteed. And we'll dredge it and get that ready. Next for the pork. This has a bone in on it, so I'll just cut around the bone. This one I'll pound out quite a bit to make it thinner, quite thin. Probably not as thin as this ham, the Black Forest ham, but something close to it. I'll trim off any excess fat. You don't need that. This is a loin, a pork loin. It's a good piece of meat. You could use a tenderloin, but the tenderloin's probably maybe 1.5 inches in diameter. Okay. If you wanted to leave the bone on, you could leave the bone on and pound it with the bone. It would look interesting. I don't think necessary, but if you want to do it like that, that would work. Trim off all the fat, flip it around. Some more fat. There we go. Clean as you go. So we have 2 pieces. They're probably about 4 to 5 ounces each. And then we'll use the this side of the mallet and pound it down. As I'm pounding it, I'm also pushing it away from the center and stretching it out, making it bigger. I'll flip it around and do the same on this side. So you can see it went from here to here. And a little transparent there. Let's do the next one. Now I start moving to the side. And there we go. 2 porks ready to go. So next step is I'm going to dredge it in flour, then the egg wash, and then the breadcrumbs. So we're going to use our right hand for the dry and our left hand for the wet. We'll never take our left hand and put it into the dry, because then we'll have breadcrumbs all over our hand. So, okay, right hand goes into the wet, left hand goes into the egg batter. We'll move this to the side, so a little bit in the bottom. We'll drop it in, and then with our right hand, we will cover our meat and never ever getting our hand wet so it doesn't stick to it. So it's always dry. Flip it over, put more of the breadcrumbs on. You can pound it, push it down, and that's ready to go. So, wet, dry, not sticky. We'll do the chicken, same thing. Right hand with the flour, pound it, take it out. Now with this, I'm going to add a little bit of margarine to it and a little bit of dried mustard. Push that in there, and then we're going to go into the wet with the right, our left with the wet, move it to the side, drop it in with our wet, never touch it, and with the right, put the breadcrumbs over it. It's not a big deal if you get your hands wet and your dry hand gets wet, but it just makes it a little bit easier. Flip it over, add the breadcrumbs, push it down, cover it nicely, push it down, and we're good to go. Okay? We're going to go back, turn on the saute pans, and we'll cook these off and get a nice brown coloring to it, and then we'll finish it off in the oven. Brought everything to the back burners. We'll start off with the chicken. Nice sizzle there. I'll turn the heat up a little bit. Just want to make sure it's not too. And then I'll put in the pork. Of course, the pork will take a lot less time than the chicken cordon bleu. Lay it down away so it doesn't splatter. Turn the heat up, and we're waiting for it to get a little bit of color, and then we'll transport it into the oven at 400 degrees, and it'll take about 10-15 minutes for the chicken, and the pork will just be sauteing on the stovetop. So as we're looking at this, you can see nice little coloring starting to bubble there. And I think it's time to put the second one in. Take it down nice and gently. Push it down. Create a little room in between so it can brown on all sides. This is coming back up to temperature. I'm going to move the handles away, out of the heat. Another 15, 20 seconds. We'll check on the browning of the chicken cordon bleu. Some nice coloring. You don't want it on too high, you don't want it to burn. Nice and slow. There you go. Nice color there. Let's check on the pork. Another 10 seconds for that. And again, we'll finish this on the stovetop and we'll put that in the oven. Another 2 minutes on the chicken, and then I'll plop it in the oven, and 2 minutes on the pork. Why did I use panko and not breadcrumbs? They're sort of the same. The panko, the Japanese panko, I find to be light and extremely crunchy. I made this with my brother Roger, and he used to do it with breadcrumbs. And when he came to visit us in Atlanta, I had the panko, and I said, Roger, let's use the panko for it. And he said, you know, I'll try that. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. So from now on, that's what he uses. He only uses the panko for it. Now I can hear the sizzle, and so that's almost ready to go. Let's take a look at that. Look at the nice color there. So we're going to plop this in the oven. Haste makes waste. Take your time. No rush here. Okay, we'll take the pork off. It looks really super fantastic. Nice and crispy, good coloring. And the cordon bleu. Let's take a look at that. Oh yeah. Great coloring. Now again, this pan's going to be very hot, so I'm going to leave my hand towel, kitchen towel, on there, and we'll plate these. So, take the chicken, and this one was just the cheese with no ham. For those that don't like ham or eat ham, you can always improvise. Whenever we do our catering, clean as we go. Whenever we do our catering, I always ask my guests, you know, do you have any food allergies, things you don't like? So you can make this both ways, with the Black Forest ham and the Gruyere, or just the Gruyere. The pork, I mean, you can hear the crunchiness to it. I'm going to take a piece and cut it so you can hear the crunch to it. It's the panko. The panko just gives great texture, great flavor, great crunchy. Put that on top there. And there you go. Now, if you recall earlier in the show, in the beginning, when we did the duck and the duck breast, and I talked about the confit and how I cooked it for, oh gosh, close to 4 hours. And you can see how the meat came across and rescinded from the tip of the bone, and it falls off, and that's what you're looking for with a duck confit. And you don't even have to crisp up the skin with a torch. You can just use it as is, and it's quite spectacular. So, hope you enjoyed us making the pork Milanese, the chicken cordon bleu with the Black Forest ham, and one without the Black Forest ham, and the duck confit from 2 shows ago, maybe 3 shows ago. Want to thank our sponsors, Little Leaf Farms and Calavita Extra Virgin Olive Oil, and we look forward to seeing you on our next show next week. Thank you very much.